concept of the chandi, or of the sadhana, or the spiritual discipline. You've given your time, you've given your body, you've given your mind, you've given your asana, you're uncomfortable, you don't know how to sit, you don't know how to breathe, you can't read the shlokas, you can't pronounce the Sanskrit, and still you're sitting there. That's sacrifice. That is a true sacrifice. Look at the pain that we go through in order to perform any spiritual discipline. He left his family, he left his job, he left his money, he left all the things he left behind in order to come here, in order to do this painful exercise of sitting there in front of an altar of an inanimate being who never does, he doesn't even smile at me. He just looks at me. Now that's painful. And here we started out in pain. And then I got even more pain. I started crying, and I started thinking, and I started remembering, and I started longing. And I said, hey, okay, I'm tired of thinking about the pain. Let me think about the pleasure. And I'm longing for the joy of being in the presence of God. And I get more pain. I get pain physically. I get pain spiritually. And then she says, it's okay. And she gives you the boon, and she gives you her love, and she feeds you and nourishes you, and suddenly it becomes ecstasy. It's an ecstatic experience. You forget all about the pain, you forget all about the discomfort, you forget all about the hole in your pocketbook. You forget everything except the joy of being in the presence of divinity. And so it started out in pain, and it ended up in ecstasy. And that is the quality of sattva. Now, there were other experiences we had which started out very, very pleasurable. And then it got less and less pleasurable until it became mechanical. And then it didn't even become mechanical, it became downright distasteful. And then I started to resent it. And then I felt obligated not to resent, and I resented it even more until it was just a bummer. Any of you ever had such an experience? Maybe. And that began in Rajas. And it was just from my desire. Oh, it was so cool the first time. But then because it was so nice, I sought to repeat the experience. And the repetitious experience fell short of the original experience. So it was less and less gratifying until it became an imposition. And it became a bummer. And I felt ripped off because I wanted it to be so pleasurable, and here I was, it wasn't pleasurable at all. All I could think about, and if it was with another person, we started fighting over it. And then it became more painful. So that was based on rajas. And there were some experiences I had where there was just tamas all the way through. It started in darkness, it started in ego, it started in selfishness, and it ended up there. It started thinking about how do I injure other people, or how do I get the best for me, not caring about anybody else. It started in tamas, it ended in tamas, and it was this disaster from the beginning to the end. And those are the three kinds of experiences. So if it starts out painfully as you make your sacrifice, and there's purity, and there's clarity, and there's an understanding of where I'm trying to go, and how I propose to get there, then it's going to be a sattvic enterprise. And I'm willing to make the sacrifice because I end up in illumination. I end up in light.